In this lecture, I will explain two grammar mistakes that are very common in scientific writing. Now, perhaps you feel a bit insecure on the topic of grammar, but believe me, you will recognize the pitfalls easily once you've grasped the point. I'm talking here about the choice between that and which as reference words, and about the dangling participle. Now, the dangling participle may be known to you as the onjuiste beknopping in Dutch grammar. Let's start off with the that-which problem, which is related to the nature of the clause it introduces. Is the clause essential or not? Now, this is quite easy to establish. Consider these two sentences and just take a minute for that. Now, in the first sentence, the clause that is introduced by that is clearly essential. You cannot leave it out. Otherwise, if you do, the sentence would read, "Land is an island," which is obviously nonsense. The clause in the second sentence, though, that starts up with which, can be missed. Tasmania is a beautiful island, sure. The clause that is inserted here, the which clause, is just an extra, an extension. That's why it's called non-essential. We can do without. An extra signal for this essential or non-essential thing is the use of commas. Essential clauses take no commas because the reader should not pause and include the information in the overall message. The commas in the non-essential sentence signal that the reader might take a break. He might even jump over the clause if he wishes and just focus on the main clause. Now, unfortunately, in British English, the distinctive use of which and that in essential clauses is less strict. So in the UK, in essential clauses, they use both. There's a choice. While in American English, this is different. That and which are strictly assigned to essential or non-essential use, which is also, of course, a clear signal for the reader. This also means that the American way is approved by the British too. Now, to profit from this signaling force of the distinctive use, the that for essential and the which for non-essential, this distinctive use is absolutely the best solution. So I would say follow the American here. Now let's see if you've grasped the point. Take a minute to decide which sentence is the which and which is the that, so to say. Pause the video if needed. Okay, well, I hope you succeeded here. Note that the melody of the sentence differs between the two structures. I'll try to demonstrate this. The estrogen that is present in most birth control pills is ethinyl estradiol. And the other sentence? The estrogen drug ethinyl estradiol, which is present in most birth control pills, is only slightly different from endogenous estradiol. So you can hear by the melody and the pauses the difference between the essential and the non-essential meaning, I hope. Okay, now when all this went a bit too fast, you can check it out again through this link that brings you to the explanation and also some different examples. Now let's have a look at the second pitfall, the dangling participle. This image pictures the grammar problem we are facing here. The little man is dangling and not sufficiently attached. Any minute he can fall and lose connection to the mother tree. This is how this problem materializes in sentences. Try to decide for each sentence what's the problem here. Swinging from tree to tree, we watched the monkeys at the zoo. Filled with gas, we drove our car all the way to Paris. Taped to the door, I wrote a note that I would return shortly. I like the third one particularly. Now, the problem in all three sentences is the fact that the subject of the main clause seems to be connected to the participle. Swinging, filled, taped. These are participles, past or present, and they kind of need a subject, someone or something that swings or is filled or taped. Now, obviously, the subject in the main clause should be the one swinging or being filled or taped, but in the actual sentences, that's not the case. The monkeys are swinging, the car is filled with gas, the note is taped. That's the intention of the author. So there's a confusion. The participle is kind of dangling and not connected in the correct way. How to solve the problem? Easy. Make sure that the subject in the main clause is the actor of the participle. Then you create a correct link. Like in sentences like these. Swinging from tree to tree, the monkeys waved at us. Filled with gas, our car made it all the way to Paris. Although taped to the door, my note drew no attention. Or any other phrasings or other solutions, of course. Now, knowing this, you will recognize the problem in this sentence. And the commonly used phrase using or based on in the methods section. This sentence suggests the global analysis used an in-house developed script. But that's not what the author means. The flaw here is caused by the use of the passive voice. An active sentence would solve the problem. Like in this rephrasing. You can also replace the participle using by an adverbial phrase like with the use of or by using. Now, that's easy, right? Often, dangling participles stem from the use of the passive voice. After separating the participants into groups, I tested group A. Now, that's correct. The I is testing and the I has separated the participants. When I convert the sentence to the passive, like in the second, the rephrasing, after separating the participants into groups, group A was tested. I wanted to convert the sentence into the passive to take myself from the sentence, no I anymore. But now I state that group A was tested after the group separated the participants into groups, which is nonsense. So the conversion of the passive may cause these awkward constructions. And the second pair of sentences is in fact the same. Example, using this procedure, I tested the participants, perfectly correct. But when I convert the sentence I tested to the passive, I get a construction like the participants were tested using this procedure. It's kind of dangling. Okay. Now, I hope I have managed to explain this pitfall in a clear way. After watching this video, you can revisit Activity 7.2 and read the answer key, in which I have commented on the details and provided some additional explanation. Any questions, post a remark or just send me the sentence by mail, the sentence you are struggling with, and I will reply.